So yeah, I'm Molly. I'm from a campaign called Disarm Oxford, and we're also a very new campaign, which is coming up to 1 year old now. So we're a student campaign, students at Oxford University, but we're also supported by alumni and members of the local community in Oxford. And our aim is to get the University of Oxford to sever its institutional, financial and personnel ties with the arms trade. We want to end research relationships with arms companies, get the university to put a ban on weapons investments, and also quit advertising jobs and internships in this industry through the careers service.
Woo!
We communicate with the university through motions, investigative reporting and direct action that their complicity in suffering, oppression and destruction and their kind of perpetuating of the social license that arms companies have is not acceptable. So what connections does Oxford University have with the arms trade? Someone was talking about some of them earlier. I thought rather than just kind of listing a load of data, I would think instead about 3 places in the world where the companies that Oxford has connection with are causing suffering, and kind of give a snapshot in that way. So first, Yemen. As we all know, and as Natasha was mentioning as well, due to the Saudi-led war there, civilians are being killed and also dying of hunger. We know that BAE Systems, arms company, is a key partner of Saudi Arabia's military. And I'm quoting from the Campaign Against the Arms Trade website here. BAE has supplied vast amounts of weaponry, including over 200 combat aircraft. It also has thousands of employees in Saudi Arabia that make the country's military operations possible. BAE's weaponry and support are a vital part of Saudi Arabia's devastating attacks on Yemen. Now, Oxford's Business School has received 6-figure grants from BAE. The company is also involved in funding research at our university. For example, sponsors for a recent engineering department project on autonomous behaviour and learning included both BAE and Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, as well as fossil fuel company Schlumberger, so goodness knows what those guys are cooking up. Rolls-Royce, which also supplies arms to Saudi Arabia, gave Oxford over £6 million in research grants between 2014 and 2019. So for our next place, let's think about Palestine. Weapons producing companies, again BAE Systems, Leonardo, again Rolls-Royce and Lockheed Martin, all have connections with arming Israel. And these companies also have connections to Oxford University. I've already mentioned the massive grants that Oxford has received from BAE, and the company is also on the advisory board for the Centre for Doctoral Training in Cyber Security. Leonardo was promoted at a careers fair last year and also has extensive connections with the maths department. Both Rolls-Royce and Lockheed Martin are research sponsors to the Department of Materials, and Lockheed Martin put £55,000 towards engineering research between 2017 and 2019. So for our last place, I'd like to focus on Calais. According to Campaign Against the Arms Trade, the Calais security system is provided by French arms company Thales. I'm not sure I know how to pronounce that. Thales, okay. It's good to know. Thales also manufactures maritime surveillance systems for drones and has researched how to track and control refugees before they reach Europe. Incidentally, its Watchkeeper drone has also been used by the UK Army to tackle the increasing number of small boats crossing the Channel. Thales has several connections with Oxford. They are listed as a current industrial partner within the maths department. Their employees and former employees have been involved in lectures and visiting lectureships. And along with several other companies, arms companies as I mentioned before, they're on the advisory board for the Centre for Doctoral Training in Cyber Security. we're all especially aware at the moment of what migrants are suffering. Oxford is complicit with the companies that not only drive people from their homes through war and oppression, but continue to terrorise them once they escape. So this is why we're doing what we're doing at Disarm Oxford. But what actions have we carried out so far in our short life? So one of the first things we did was to present a motion to our student union, asking that they sort of officially endorse our campaign, which passed. Then the first kind of, I guess, action that we did was in response to a series of virtual careers fairs run by Oxford's Careers Service, in which several arms companies and fossil fuel companies were represented and promoted. And we did this joint with Oxford Climate Justice Campaign, who do kind of the same thing as us, but about the fossil fuel industry. Now, Oxford's Careers Service has an interesting moral position in that they have an official public ban on advertising jobs within tobacco companies, and they refuse to do that. But they don't apply this logic to any other kinds of industries that result in death. So obviously we and the Oxford Climate Justice Campaign have something to say about that. So in the lead up to each of these virtual careers fairs where arms and fossil fuel companies were present, we staged what we sort of thought of as inbox occupations. So we got as many people as possible to email in to the careers service complaining about the companies. A few of us also signed up to attend the virtual careers fairs and kind of basically posed lots of awkward questions to the representatives from the armed companies, kind of giving the message that, you know, attending an Oxford careers fair isn't necessarily going to be a pleasant experience, sort of time wasting. The response, the kind of official response from the careers service was very disappointing in that they kind of just had a generic response that they sent out to everyone, and it was mostly just talking about what great stuff they've done about sustainability. It wasn't even really addressing arms at all. And their kind of claim was that in offering students a choice of all possible careers, they were being neutral. But we don't really see that as neutrality. It's complicity by kind of presenting these as viable career options. They're perpetuating the social license that the arms trade has. On a slightly happier note, we did notice that at the first careers fair that's been advertised for this coming term, there aren't any fossil fuel or arms companies present. So we're wondering if maybe they they thought it was just too much hassle for them to have to deal with it. So yeah, no official commitment, but that's a good sign. The next action that we did last year was a sort of rebranding of department signage. So we chose several departments that carry out research for particular arms companies, and we made them alternative signs to put up over their existing signs. So, for example, the physics department became the Department of Nuclear Weapons. The Jenkins Building for Engineering Science became Weapon Building Profiteering Alliance, and the Careers Service became Careers in War Service, etc. So we kind of generated some student media around that, and they weren't immediately taken down. So hopefully lots of people found that interesting. Then kind of what we were sort of building up to through the year, similarly to what Demilitarised UCL was doing, was we wrote an open letter to the Vice Chancellor of the university, which ended up getting over 150 signatures from individuals, mostly students and alumni, and 12 signatures from organisations. Off the back of that, a couple of us went and met with the VC in one of her online open office sessions, which at least encouraged her to read the letter, which I don't think she would have necessarily was planning to do otherwise. It wasn't especially inspiring in that she was very nice to us, but she didn't really give any sense that she was willing to change anything. So I think there's a lot of work still to do. But yeah, we were glad to have had a first conversation, and I hope it will be the first of many. So then just finally we ended the academic year with just a small socially distanced vigil where we were thinking about trying to think in real terms about the victims of these companies that Oxford is allying itself with. So our goal for next year is really to do more research because we were quite lucky those of us who started up Disarm Oxford, we were in conversation with just an individual student, just a great guy who had just independently done loads of research and done loads of freedom of information requests. So we had quite a good backlog to work off there. We also kind of throughout the year sporadically did a few sort of research parties where we essentially just Googled various arms companies in relation to Oxford University and kind of came up with lots of interesting details there. But I think we really need more up-to-date big data, so that will be a focus for next year. And demilitarised education is great on all that, so you'll be learning more from them about that later on. Do get in touch with them if you're trying to do something similar at your uni. So that's kind of gives a bit of a snapshot about Disarm Oxford. I'm happy to answer more questions about it later if people are interested. But I thought now we could open out to sort of discussion a bit more.